Alright, so here's a late 1960s Acoustic Corporation 261 amplifier, and we took it out, and we're just looking at one of the boards here right now. We can see there's some corrosion here. The old flux is pretty corroded, the board's dirty, and it really kind of smells like your grandmother's attic. If you've ever been up in an attic that's been sealed off for a while and there's like really old clothes, maybe some old chests up there, that's what it smells like inside the amp here. And I have some 91% isopropyl alcohol. Just cut up a brand new acid brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and get in here and just clean a little bit like that, and just clean up some of these contacts underneath here. Yeah. Now the amplifier itself is it's working, but there's not much power coming to the output. Some of the circuits are very weak in power. You can kind of see some of that dirt there. So when I went down to the local guitar shop and talked to a couple of the veterans there, the guys that have been there a long time, they just said get in there and clean it all up. Now today I'm not going to be taking it all apart, but get in there. There could be some just dirty contacts, and he said the guy probably, if he were to do it or have his friend do it, had to charge around $100 an hour. And if he's gonna get in there and take it all apart and really clean it up, here's a microfiber cloth too. You just get in there and clean that board up. You kind of see it's dirty. Sorry, this isn't a stable table, so it kind of shakes. The camera's actually on a tripod, so that can be a little disorientating if you're watching. I do apologize. But I'm just going to get in here a little bit and really just kind of wipe down the boards here. Just like I said, get a good one. Down to the local hardware store, picked up a couple of these acid brushes for $1 a pack. And they're really good. You chop them. They usually come like this here and brushed out, but then you want to cut them down a little bit to make it more stiff to get in there and get that really dirty stuff. Now we'll clean in the top of this, make it sound better. No, but if you open it up, it'll certainly look better. And that old flux there is really corroded. I mean, it's just old. Now these cables here are very still. The connectors and wires and stuff are really in good shape inside here. You can tell this thing has been stored well, not too exposed to too many elements, but I mean it's got some wear and tear. It's over 30 years old, so it's expected. Now I was told I'll probably have to get in here and really clean this like this, maybe like once every 6 months, because these boards here aren't treated. These are exposed. You got exposed metal here, and then these are the old boards where they actually laid it down by hand. Some of the places laid these strips down by hand. Maybe put some glue down or something over top, some spray glue. I don't know. You just get in there and just really kind of just scrub around. I'm going to dip some of the alcohol on that microfiber cloth and just kind of give it a wipe down. It dries really quick. This is again 91% rubbing alcohol. You can get the denatured alcohol, works really well out here too. Oh, sorry, that's probably disorienting for the camera. But This stuff here works just as good. It doesn't really leave too much residue behind, if any. You can kind of just wipe the clean side of it. You can see, maybe not so much, how dirty this is. And even if I just took a little bit of the kind of the loose brush here, just got in here and worked this a little bit. Now, I'm not afraid to get a little bit of saturated in there. I say shouldn't do that, but gotta really scrub it up and just get in there and just gotta be careful doing that too, because these are all pointy. Fingers are pretty calloused up from playing, but still you get in there and you get a good scrub. Oh yeah, see, really dirty. So we moved down the circuit board a little bit, got a little bit of wider angle. And again, I'm just going to get in there. And that's the flux and stuff. And get these rails good and scrubbed up a little bit. Get those contact points a good scrub. If you have an old dirty amp like this and it's not giving you that much power, you might want to go ahead and do the same thing. Crack it open, find the schematics. There's usually forums or groups where you can get in there and really find some helpful people to help you out, get you some information. I was able to find the schematics for this old piece of gear in a forum. A guy emailed it to me, so that was really nice of him. And look at that. See? Just got to keep working a little bit. That old flux gets really corroded in there, and you just... Here's the thing. Now, you can pay somebody to do this down at a local shop. Anywhere from 45 to 75, maybe even more an hour. Well, if you're not scared, get in there and pay yourself. So the amount of time you spend an hour cleaning it, and give yourself 75 bucks or whatever for a job well done. That's it. Now this particular amp is it's got a good place in history. I found out about it through watching a lot of the Doors videos, but many other famous players have played with it. Robert King, I believe, Frank Zappa. This is an Acoustic Control 261 head, solid state all the way through, as you can, I don't know if you can see from this camera angle, but yeah, it's all solid state, built in the late 60s, early 70s. These models came out. Powerhouses. I mean, the big problem back in the day was there wasn't house PA system, so the places that bands played, they had to be able to supply the audience with good sound, so they had to have big rigs, big setups. I mean, that's why a lot of these old amps are just so powerful, so they can actually get the music out there to the crowd. Well, these 260 heads, a lot of the acoustic stuff, you know, they're also designed for bass. Not this particular model. This one is designed for a guitar. But a lot of the 260 or acoustic control stuff was bass. Real big sound with those guys. You just belting out those low frequencies. But this thing here is a powerhouse too. 120 watts. I mean, it stands on two 15-inch woofers with a big old horn. Stereo output, so you can have stereo output on this thing. We'll go right to the speaker cabinet. I actually don't have a speaker cabinet for this particular head, but I do have one for another head I have. And then You know, if you have old amps like this, just you don't have the combination speaker cabinet, you can get a direct injection box and hook it up that way to your recorder, and not worry about, oh, see, look at that. We got some loose solder coming off right there. Look at that. See, there we go. That's why it's a good idea. Just get in these old things and really take a good look. This particular one here, like I said, I can go through it. Some of the circuits are a little weak, but they're there. I can hear them if I crank it all the way up. I'm running this through a direct injection box right now. Well, not this very moment, but to play through it, and then I can record in that way and jam it out and test it out and listen to it. I just pulled out my multimeter and I found out I blew that up a while ago and I forgot about it. So some of the circuitry didn't work, so I just trashed it. In other words, I was going to start getting in here and tinkering around a little bit. But that's all. Like I said, I'm on a non-really stable workbench, so it's a little shaky. I do apologize if you're watching this wondering how to clean an amp. You can see here, hopefully I got it zoomed in enough, where the corrosion is on these tracks. I'm sure there's a proper name, track or rail. It's been a while since I've dealt with electronics. Used to fix old radar systems, but we didn't really have to get in anymore on the component level like this. And we had the boards in there. We'd clean them up with the brush and all the EEPROM chips. But other than that, swap it out mostly. Look for corrosion. I'd want to let somebody else solder this up if I was going to do any work to it. Only because I have just a small little hand solder and I don't think I have any flux with me. But if I needed to work, I'd let somebody else do that part. Somebody kind of does it all the time. This old gear like this, you want to have a real pro in there getting it done. So basically, I'm just looking at any contact that's really corroded, just kind of giving it a nice work over. Get that little orange gunk out of there. And it doesn't take too long, you know, just kind of get in there and mess around a little bit. Underneath it's where all the components are, so that's probably maybe another good spot to take a look. But it's so well put together, I mean, this is probably original. This doesn't look like it's ever been tampered with. I can't tell. Maybe it has, but from what I see, it looks like, boom, maybe a couple leads here might have been touched up. This one here possibly, no. Everything's solid, nothing's broken. I'm just going to keep working down the, oh yeah, you can see how kind of dirty it is. Get in there with the microfiber cloth. Really just clean that up. Worked it all loose. Oh, you can see it. Good and dirty. So what I was saying was a lot of resistance, I think, on some of these boards, just because maybe it's dirty in the corrosion. Because I can crank it up and I can hear everything working. It's got a tremolo, it's got the big reverb tank inside here. Reverb works alright, but some of the tremolo stuff, you gotta really crank it up to here, but you can hear it working. So I know the signal's floating around in here, just something's really drawing it down. Go ahead and move down the circuits a little bit. So just kind of work the track. From the contact to the next contact. Gonna get down that rail. I mean, can you imagine though, back in the day, when these things were brand new off the assembly line? I mean, you got a bunch of engineers just jamming out. You know, they're probably having a great time just putting these things together, hand soldering each point, getting frustrated when it didn't work. I mean, everything was good. Music is taking off in a new direction. You got the Doors, who really pushed this model to the next level. Robbie Krieger there. They had, like, if you watch any of their old videos, you got a dozen of these things on the stage just powering those concerts they had. To the Rhodes keyboard that Manzurek was jamming on, to vocals screaming through it. They Unknown Soldier, that gunshot, they pick one of these up and just slam it down. Got that reverb tank in there. Pretty wild. Just dipping some of the alcohol in the brush, getting in there and giving it a nice scrub. Can't see it, you know, the circuitry. This is the fuzz channel, and the fuzz channel is pretty weak, so I need to check. Probably pull this board out and really see what's going on. What's going on underneath there. And again, you can turn it up. Oh yeah, these are just real dirty contacts. And maybe just dirty on the outside. I don't know if they're cold. I don't have any way to test it right now if it's cold, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's not, because like I said, I can hear it. But it's just no volume to it, no power. Clean channel works pretty good. I'll get this thing good and shined up. Look pretty good. Move down to the, touch this up here just a little bit. Microfiber cloth in here and just kind of give it a nice. I don't have any Q-tips with me, so I need some of them too to help clean up some of the dirt. Got some corrosion right there we'll get after. Now this track seems kind of worn down a little bit. Same thing with this one here. It's a little worn out. That could be part of it as well. Sometimes these tracks just, you know, wear out. No iPhone's gonna look like this inside. They can probably get all this stuff down to one board now. Put it in your back pocket. Or just make a plug-in. I haven't seen no 260 plugins. I guess all you need is a big reverb tank, some distortion, and a bit of gain. Still a little dirty down here. And if you're going to pick up any of these acid brushes here, you want to grab a dozen or so, because they start to come apart like that. I guess they're made. Some are made out of horsehair. Some are just fake bristles and polymer. But they will start falling apart on you. Get in there and clean some of that residue out. Go ahead and get down to the next board here. This one's got some good corrosion on it. So this circuit here has got a couple big contact points that have a bit of corrosion on it. This one kind of looks like maybe it had some work done to it, or it's just touched on it. Now this is the reverb tremolo channel. Now I was saying that the tremolo is not too strong right now, but it is a really dirty board. We'll see what we can do, see if any of this actually will help it out. Just a little alcohol. Just get in there and we'll scrub. Not too much pressure, you know, but not too light. This is a 103B, the 103B board. Everything's labeled really nice. I mean, the schematics are really easy to read on this thing. Not much to it, but the you know, the engineering, the thought process back in the day was pretty awesome. You can get in here. It's set up, you know, to get repaired if they need to repair it at the time. These things were workhorses. They were put to the test. You know, now they're not so easy to come across anymore. Plenty of options out there, but for the vintage guys, you know, you just, it's good gear. It's just a lot of fun. Classics. Might not sound the best, you know, it's solid state, right? So a lot of people give it a lot of guff because it's not the vintage tubes or anything like that. I'd say this has its place in history, though. You know, the Acoustic Corporation definitely made its mark in its day. I mean, they still have the 360 head for the bass. I think they reproduced the older looking styles, you know, just for cosmetic reasons. People really enjoyed that blue stripe down the front of it. I mean, you can tell when you see it, you know what it is if you know your gear a little bit. Their bass stuff is crazy. I have a 150 head, and I had to put it through a PV cabinet. I don't have that anymore. I had the head, but not the cabinet, and that thing would just, you know, scream. It was crazy. It was nice. That needed a little work there. I got a couple shocks from it. Laying my arm across the strings there. This one doesn't have a 3-prong plug on it. Could get it updated. Probably needs it just for safety. But when I play this one, I'm a little bit cautious to not lay my arms across all the strings and kind of keep it, pick with it. I mean, it's old gear. You don't know the potential. You know, it could be something could be wrong or something. But hold on, you plug it in, play a little bit, just go with it. So this one here is not really covered in solder there. I don't know if that means anything, like, you know, how to really tell if it's had any extra work to it. These contacts here are really dirty. This board is quite dirty. You can see after I go through it once, there's a bunch of film and gunk. It might not be a great thing to go so hard on the rails, but give it a good wipe down. Electronics, they're finicky. We were working on a power supply, just one rack one time, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't making it through this test, this piece of equipment. It turned out there was a whole rack of pins, and we accidentally shorted some, which threw the power supply off by a few milliamps, and this few milliamps made all the difference. So always check power. Check your intolerances to a certain gear, you know, if you have that equipment to do it. If you can, obviously, if you're checking it, you know that, but just saying, for us, we didn't know what the hell was going on. We thought something else was wrong, you know, we're changing boards out, testing all these other points, and finally, always check your connections and check your power. Yeah, sure enough, there's a few milliamps. Once we put them back in tolerance, we're even like on point, not even in tolerance. We just right where they should be. I mean, it was like 5 volts, but it was like 493 or something like that. It wasn't that far off, so we didn't at first pay much attention. But yeah, that was a fun day. So yeah, once you get in there, you can kind of see how dirty that is. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and get out the cloth. Get in there and just wipe down this stuff. The old board, you know, it's 30, 40 years old. I want to say this is a late 60s model. Haven't got underneath it yet. You know, I'm reluctant to kind of take it all apart, because once you do that, sometimes it's not so easy to kind of move them around, and I don't want to break a lead and not be able to solder it up or wait a while to get it soldered. I'd rather just clean what I can see, you know, for now anyways. See what it does, and then if I have to, I said, let somebody else take care of the rest. Really just kind of get in there. And this part, I mean, you can do this part. Obviously, you're looking to clean up your amp or something. If you found this nice little video, hope it's helpful. Now this gear being as old as it is, I mean, just imagine the creative energy that flew through this piece of gear. You know, when somebody hooked up their old Gibson, maybe their old Fender, just some Japanese model, you know, whatever, and they were busting licks out, jamming out. I mean, the parties, the concerts, the energy, anything like that. That or this could have just been sitting in someone's attic for years. I don't know. You never can tell with these old pieces of gear. Especially when you get it and you second, third, fourth hand, you don't know where it's been. The venues that it's powered up. Gotta get a stronger table. Different times when they were building these things here, different times. Same problems, just different times. I don't think much else has changed in the world other than a couple more people, an easier way to talk to each other. Other than that, it's all the same. The good guys are the good guys, the bad guys are the bad guys, and sideliners still chilling out in the sideline. Not much changed. The artist's gonna do art. So on and so on. Most you can do is just enjoy what you have while you got it, and those you're around and who you're with. There's little moments like just cleaning up this board, you know. Gonna be here in a minute. What do you think? Get some juice, get some licks getting through in this thing here. I'm gonna clean up this filter board here and see what we can do. See if that'll help clean anything up. This one's a good one here. You can really see some of the corrosion all around these contacts. I'd like to get you in there closer, but it's the tripod's where it's at. You know, just a happy little circuit here, and happy little contact point there, and we'll just clean this spot up right here. And if you tell anyone that that spot's there, I will find you. Yeah. Big old filter caps. All the transistors behind this board here. I have to take this board out to really get to it. Take these two rails off, pull this one out, and drop it down. So we're just going to go ahead and clean a couple spots up before I hook it up a little bit and see if it actually did this, if this did any little difference here. Wondering. So what I'll do is I'll hook it up to the DI box and then record a few bits of the channel. Go through each one, you know, just kind of go down the line here. Alright, so we have it hooked up. Go ahead and power it on. Now I'm just in the normal channel. It's got bright, normal. Everything is pretty much off right now. Turn the fuzz channel, reverb down, tremolo down. Everything's down. We're working on the top rail here. Got the recorder fired up. And just give it a test. Test go. Check my inputs. So here's noon. Alright, so at noon we got the guitar just on the stand here. We're just going to pluck some strings. I made the capo on the 3rd fret, just took the capo off. Scratchy. That's a scratchy bass. Right there. Oh yeah, so get those all sprayed out and cleaned up. So I'm going to turn very up. Now we see if we can get some fuzz. So yeah, from playing it before to playing it now, I can certainly hear a big difference already. There's a lot more power coming through. That or my mind's playing tricks on me. Probably should have warned you. That's the reverb. The reverb tank. The authentic spring reverb. Tremolo, now here's going to be the real tell. We're going to turn the tremolo up. Oh, yeah. Before I even opened this thing up, that you couldn't even hear the tremolo. That's pretty exciting because, like I said, I couldn't even hear the scratches in the thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, it can't be too bad. No, they were just so muffled that I couldn't hear them, even if I turn it, you know, up a good bit. So. I forget all the licks, but so. Alright, so now we have the fuzz on. Okay, so we're gonna switch down to the bottom. So now we're down here at the bottom. Haven't touched this circuit boards yet. Doesn't seem to do too much. Almost like it's on full blast. Now here's the electronic tuning fork. This I couldn't really hear much at all before. Still can't. I'm full volume cranked right now. So there you go. Once I get down here and clean these circuits up, clean these out, and take these off, and I'll spray them in. I got some electronic pot cleaner there. You basically just spray it in there and it gets all the junk out. And we'll see how it goes. Fantastic model. Like I said, everything's working, just a little dirty.